I'm delighted to have on the channel with me today Shaun-Gibson, Shaun, who is a good friend of mine and also a fellow Brit. Now you may know him because Shaun is an excellent upju and also a professional musician and singer. So thanks for joining us today, Shaun.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited about this.
So if it's all right with you, Shaun, I just wanted to take a little bit of time to explain a little bit about Joshun's background.
Yeah, sure thing. Go for it.
So Joshun, as I understand, Shaun, you're already quite familiar with him because I've seen you've done an excellent performance of his song 大雨.
Yeah, I did a cover of 大雨, I think it was last year now. The first time I heard it, I just really loved it. I mean, obviously his voice is absolutely beautiful, and I knew that there was no way that I could sing it in his style because his style is so unique. But I really loved the melody and the general style of it and everything. You know, the melody, the lyrics, the story and everything. And so I just decided to do my own version of it, really, in my own style. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Joshun's backstory because I think it's super interesting and it might be something you as a musician and a singer relate to.
Oh, I'd love to hear more of his backstory actually, because I've been thinking about this. You know, he's so unique. I just wonder who he looked up to as an idol.
Yeah, he's got an exceptionally unique story, which I think kind of matches, as you say, his unique voice. So when he was growing up, he was always really interested in singing. But as you may be able to tell, he has quite a unique male voice in that he's able to reach quite high notes. And as a result of this, he felt a little bit different to everyone else and wasn't as confident in his voice as perhaps he could have been, given how excellent it is. And so he kind of he wasn't confident in moving forward as being a professional singer. And actually, for his university studies, it's kind of crazy, but he went to Ukraine to study dentistry. So he didn't initially set out on the path to be, the fabulous musician that he is today.
Yeah.
However, whilst he was in Ukraine, he performed and got some more confidence, and some teachers encouraged him. And he actually switched over to the study of bel canto, which, from my understanding, is an Italian form of musical performance.
Yeah, you can absolutely tell he's classically trained, and no one can sing like that if they haven't been trained. I mean, obviously his range is incredible, and you can't teach that. You can't teach someone a range. You've either got it or you haven't. I mean, you can stretch it a little bit by a few notes, but I mean, the range that he has is just out of this world. He's a freak of nature. He really is a freak of nature. He's absolutely mind-boggling, and to think that he didn't have a lot of faith in his own voice, I just can't understand that. I mean, it's really interesting you talk about that because I've been through a similar kind of thing myself. I wasn't a dentist or anything like that. I certainly haven't even been to the Ukraine, but I've always wanted to do music and everything. And when I was younger, I kind of got the wrong advice, which was you should only ever sing in your own way. Rather than learning things from other singers, you should just sort of just use your own way. I don't really know how to explain it, but I mean, the way that you get a fashionable, stylish voice is by taking elements of different people's voices and integrating them into your own voice. And I was sort of taught not to do that, which was really bad advice when I was younger. And so it's resulted in my voice being very, very clean. And I get a lot of criticism online for my voice being too clear, And it's stopped me from developing so many skills that I'm now having to learn at this point in my career. And it's stuff that I really should have learned 10, 15 years ago, if not longer, if not earlier. So the fact that he was insecure about his voice kind of makes me feel a lot better about being insecure about mine, because my voice is nowhere near as good as his. Nowhere near. Not even 10% as good. So I suppose even the most successful people and, you know, these people that you look up to as idols, everyone has their own insecurities and they're all on their own path, and actually that's really nice to know for me.
So after studying, his first performance, kind of breakthrough performance, was on a program called 中国好声音, which is the Chinese version of The Voice, which we have in the UK. And he talks on that about not only had he had doubts about his voice, also that there were some doubts around he is quite short and isn't necessarily what the music industry might have considered a pop star. But I think that's also the case that can sometimes happen in the UK. But over the past 10 years, I think both the Chinese pop industry and the UK pop industry have grown to be a lot more diverse and accepting of not just people that necessarily look fabulous, but also, you know, if you've got great talent, then that kind of shines through. So his whole backstory really is one of positivity.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only issue with the Western music industry is everything has to happen within a sort of tight framework. I mean, at least when it comes to mainstream pop music, everything works inside a box. So basically they just change the facade of the box every now and then. So it's like, okay, 90s, we love plastic pop music. Then everyone's getting bored of that now, so we'll shift to something that's a bit more authentic. And then you get artists like Ed Sheeran and Adele. You know, Ed Sheeran comes on in a jumper playing a guitar looking like a busker and plays Wembley Stadium. I mean, that's like the latest trend, but it's still within a fairly narrow framework. It's still based on blues and jazz and singer-songwriter pop music. So I think Joseon is kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say lucky, but he's much more suited to the Asian style sound because they're much more open-minded when it comes to exploring melodies and different styles. Whereas in the West, mainstream pop music is just limited to whatever. It's basically EDM pop, hip hop, and that's it. You know, it's all based on the electronic dance music, really, of various different styles. But you don't really hear people singing bel canto, operatic style music on the radio in the UK or America. You know, that's what drew me to Asian music, and particularly Chinese music, as well as because there are so many styles that are explored that just you don't get in the West. So I think he's so unique, and I'm just so glad that the Chinese pop music industry saw that and thought, okay, yeah, we can work with this. And he's just so amazing that he can be pushed, you know, and have a career out of it. Because I'm not sure that people with that talent in the UK would have had those same opportunities because they didn't fit into this tiny formulaic box that is modern pop music.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think that speaks to one of Joseon's biggest strengths, which is that he's actually capable of singing a variety of different styles. His flexibility is just incredible. As you will know, having listened to some of his other songs that I sent you, Monsters, Time to Say Goodbye, Da Yu, you know, it's a whole variety of different genres.
Time to Say Goodbye was just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Oh, I had shivers down my spine listening to that.
Yeah. I think my mum started to cry when we listened to that.
Oh, I had tears in my eyes. I just want to say it's actually very, very brave of him. And I think people underestimate just how brave it is for a person to be themselves, and just how much courage it takes to stand up and say, you know, this is me, especially if they feel vulnerable and they're afraid of their own voice. You know, if they're not confident in their own voice, to be able to stand up and take the risk of public humiliation, you know, for him, that's really incredible. It's not easy to sing without an accent when you're singing in a foreign language, and that's a gift. You can't teach that. You really can't teach that. Even, you know, the vast majority of really amazing singers, as soon as they start to sing in a foreign language, they have an accent. And it's just so, it's like it's more like an instinct to be accentless or to sound like a native.
Now, I think I speak for both of us when I say if Shaun does get opportunity, if he wants to come to the UK and perform, we absolutely welcome him. I know you're short to return to China, but I'm sure you'd be pleased to see him perform in the UK as well, Shaun.
Oh, absolutely. That would be amazing. In fact, this is something that, I mean, in my own way, I'm really passionate about it. So through my work, I want to share Chinese culture with Western people. So
sure,
obviously the end goal of that is to have all of these really amazing Chinese artists that we both love standing on stages in the UK and America and Europe and everywhere else in the West, but not only singing, not only performing to a Chinese audience, you know, Chinese overseas audience. What I would love to see in the future is
also to Brits.
Yeah, loads of. 'Cause I mean,
100%.
Jay Cho sold out Wembley Stadium for 3 nights just with Chinese audience, but it would have been so much better if, you know, that was Wembley and there were local people there as well, UK people, because I mean that's culture exchange, isn't it? I mean that's real culture exchange. And I just think the world would be a much better place with more of that, really.
Yeah. Well, I certainly think an artist such as Shaun has got the capacity to appeal to a wide range of artists, and I've got no doubt in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, you've got a new generation of Chinese musicians coming through. Xinli Naigao, Zhang Yixing, Wang Jiaer, Wang Yibo, Shaun, all of these types of brilliant artists that have got beautiful voices and are capable of appealing to Western audiences when they sing in English, but also the domestic audiences. So I'm with you. The more that we can get these artists over to the UK to really kind of touch our Western culture as well would just be fabulous.
Definitely, and actually I really hope, this is like my dream, I really hope that I can write some songs for these people. I mean, if I could write a song for Shaun, I would be that would just make my entire life, you know? Because the issue is as well, there aren't that many people who understand Western culture and Chinese culture. You know, Western musicians, they're so in their own box, they're blinkered towards the West, and Chinese musicians, they can take things from the West and incorporate it into Chinese music, but translating that back to a Western market is really difficult. It really needs people like us who have one foot in each country, really, to sort of bridge that gap. And I would just love in the future to be part of that in any way, you know. So if anyone watching has any interest in culture exchange to do with music or anything like that, then please feel free to reach out to me personally, because it's something that I'm really, really passionate about and I would like to see come to fruition in my lifetime, certainly.
Excellent. All right then, Shaun. I think that we can wrap up there. So, Shaun, if anyone isn't already, you should certainly follow him. If I'm right, Xiaoen, you have a platform both on YouTube and Bilibili. Are you also on 西瓜视频?
I have, yeah. I'm on all of that, all of the normal channels.
Awesome. So yeah, give Shaun a follow. And also, if you're not already, 你可以关注我的频道英国杰克，还有给我们点赞。Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me.
You're very welcome. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for inviting me.
Safe travels back to China, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
一键三连. Bye bye.
Bye bye.